Don't try to do everything yourself, accept help.
Hello, beautiful people. Thank you for joining us here at the New Times Rwanda. I'm always pleased when I get an opportunity to sit down with different people, with different stories, with different experiences, from their careers, whether business people, whether entrepreneurs or artists, I always believe it's from their stories we can draw opinions that can help us, guide us, advices, and get us going through life. So today I'm pleased to be sitting down with Rwandan fashion designer and entrepreneur Sonia Mugabo. Hi, Sonia.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for making time.
Of course.
You're well?
Doing well. Can't complain.
I know you're celebrating.
Yes, a lot to be thankful for.
Congratulations on your 10-year anniversary. I thought we'll find here something like a cake and,
You were supposed to bring me a cake, actually.
I was.
Yeah, to congratulate the 10 years. But it's okay, we can arrange.
We're going to celebrate this after the conversation. So I was thinking we start by talking about the business, Sonia Mugabo, how it has grown over the years. This time you're celebrating 10 years in business. Not many business last for all that while. So please take us through how did you start the business?
First of all, again, thank you for having me. Even when I think about 10 years, I'm like, wow, it's really been 10 years. I feel like it has gone by really fast. But when I think about how I started the business, I imagine I was 23 when I started. I had just graduated from college and I was really looking to find something to do with my life. And I guess with my love of fashion, I saw an opportunity in Rwanda to start a fashion line. There weren't many designers as they are today. And I was like, why not? But even when I think about 10 years ago and I reflect back, I'm like, wow, it was such a brave thing to do, because if you told me today to start a fashion line, I don't know if I would be as brave. So I also think about how the beauty of being young and not, because the older you grow, the more you calculate what could go wrong, what could go right. So I reflect on the 10 years and I'm thankful for the journey.
During college, how did you think that fashion was the right way to go? Not dancing, not singing, or join politics. Why did you choose fashion right after college?
I actually studied visual communication and graphic design, and I think it was my last year of college where we did an internship, and I did a graphic design internship. And I realized I don't think this is going to be my path, because I tend to have a certain style of designing, and I felt like maybe some clients might want something different and there would be a conflict. So I was like, definitely not graphic design. So I knew I'd go the marketing path, but fashion for me, it started with coming here and not having enough options of finding clothes that I wanted to wear. So I started doing it for me, and then my sisters joined, and my friends, and I got the support, and I was like, oh, I think I can do this. So that's how it started.
No, that is interesting, because most of the people who come back in the country, it's always, it takes a creative mind to find the problem. I like how you said you couldn't find the clothes you wanted, and then you're like, hey, I'm gonna make these clothes myself. It takes a creative mind. But tell me, right after you started, you had friends join you, you had family relatives join you. What are the challenges you faced along the way?
I think the challenges that I face are also other challenges that Rwandan designers face, African designers face, because one thing for me that was big was access to resources, for example. Access to the different fabrics or machinery, equipment. This was very hard to find. Also the fact that I didn't necessarily have, I did not go to fashion school. I had to, of course, yeah, I have a sense, I'm creative, but then I also have to learn the basics. So it's amazing what the internet does today. You can learn so much if you do the right research. So I really had to learn also the fact that it's a business. I didn't know I was going to be an entrepreneur. I thought I was going to be working for someone, but then I found myself working for myself. So in terms of, for example, accounting, people management, because I have a team of tailors, I have a team of workers that are working for me. So all these things I had to learn really fast. And it takes a lot not to give up. Also, I would say logistics and infrastructure, being a landlocked country, like I had mentioned fabrics earlier, for us to get fabrics into the country, it was hard. But then luckily the government was able to remove some of the taxes. So we're actually able to, it's called duty remission. So you can be able to bring fabrics and they can remove some tax. So that was very encouraging. The fact that the government was, putting incentives in place for us.
Yeah, trying to support you to
Absolutely.
for the business to run.
Absolutely.
But then,
and those are, by the way, I didn't mention all the challenges. Those are a few of the challenges.
I always feel like when it comes to challenges, it's one of the interesting parts, in a personal story. Because at the end of the day, we'll see a brand out there, and we'll see something shining, but we don't know the work that goes behind it. And I always feel like if you've gone through a certain experience, then I always feel like it's an opportunity for a person with your experience to share how you've always managed to go through. If you faced challenges of resources, financial restrictions, how have you tackled it? How have you went through it? Because someone might be watching us and they're wondering, were they born with a silver spoon, or is something everyone can obtain? So I always feel like once we always share those experiences, and then what are the solutions, and are they even possible? So if you can elaborate a little bit on how you've been able to, at least attain a solution to every challenge you've missed.
I don't think I can say that I've been able to solve all the solutions, because it's still an ongoing process. Because I was saying about fabrics, I'm able to import from different countries. So that's something that I do when I feel like, because I used to buy fabrics from here, but I felt that sometimes I didn't find exactly what I was looking for. But then also one thing that I want to start doing is making my own fabrics. Maybe we can talk about the future, but in line, sustainability, using fabrics that I guess the environment is very important today. So something that I definitely want to do is we are an ethical brand, but I think we can take more measures to even do more. So that's something a challenge that I'm actually trying to solve at the moment. In terms of maybe logistics as well, I try to see how, like with my tailors, I can create a bigger team, for example, but also I do not have enough capital to be able to employ, maybe have a whole 100 people. I have machinery, everything like that. So we've been moving slowly. I actually started with one tailor. And now we're a team of 10 tailors, and then a team I also work with outside tailors when I have big orders. So I would say I work with about maybe 25 tailors at the moment, so I can see the growth.
These are full-time staff. You pay them monthly?
Full-time staff are about 10. Yes.
About
and then
10.
but those ones too, it's monthly pretty much. So if I want to increase my stock, I also subcontract outside tailors. So that's something I'm also trying to continue building my workshop with current machinery, with up-to-date equipment. One other challenge I would say is trainings as well, because when I'm lucky enough to have very well-trained tailors that were able to learn in previous jobs or in previous, some of them actually went to school for it. I have a professional pattern cutter that I really admire, and I'm like, wow, this is really impressive work. So just slowly, because I think maybe to kind of answer your question in a more broad way, I think most times entrepreneurships or entrepreneurs want to get rich fast. And if you make losses year 1, year 2, year 3, you're like, okay, I'm done. And that's something that I had to learn the hard way, because I was able to use my communication degree to do other jobs outside of fashion, to be able to get money to invest in my fashion, yes, in the business. So a lot of times we may be, because I started and then I was like, okay, this is going to be my full-time job, but then I was making losses. So I was like, you know what, let me use my communication degree to be able to feed the business. And that's what I did. That's a solution, for example, a lot of young people can also try to do, because I feel like most times we're really fixated on something and we're like, this is all I can do. But sometimes you have to, you know, cut corners and find other ways to get to your dream. Don't give up on it, but also you have to eat.
Sonia, I like that you're being realistic, and at least someone can imagine, they can have an imagination of how it was like for you once you at the beginning. Because if you're saying you had like 2 jobs, so you were trying to feed the baby. Now SM was still a baby, and you had 1 tailor. So I think that is something everyone can relate to. You know, if you say you started from here, then someone can tell and they have an image. But please tell me, you're back in the country, and then you try to make clothes. You weren't seeing the country. Well, I can imagine why it was like in the country, because at least today we have you and we have other designers trying to, put up and raise the flag through fashion. But then how have your designs evolved? How did you start? What materials were you having, and which materials do you have now? Why did you take, basically?
Sure. I think it's like going to school, or even like a sport, anything you do, if you start practicing, I always believe like practice makes perfect. Actually, that's what the saying goes. So I feel like when I started, maybe I had an eye, maybe I had a sense of style. But the more you do something, and the more you keep on designing, and I think I've heard it from my clients, especially with this collection, the 10th. It's actually called the X collection. X means 10. So the X collection, I've heard a lot of great feedback. People saying there's some sort of growth and evolution in my designs, and I take pride, and I'm very happy to hear that, because I think even the team, we've worked really, really hard. And I guess when I started, I was very limited to, I used to use a lot of gitenje, but then as
Was you using gitenje? Was it because it was stylish, or because of it's why you could afford at the moment?
It's what was on the market and what I could afford, And I'm not saying that it's not a bad fabric. I still get a lot of inspo. Actually, the dress right behind you, that's cotton, but people think it's a gitenje on the bottom. But so I started learning different fabrics, and I can say now that I'm able to do, maybe if you look in the back, the second dress, it's called the Eza dress, like the details on the arms, the details on the bottom. It's almost like it is couture in a sense, because of the details and the manipulation of using fabrics. And so I think that's what I've learned throughout the time. The prints that I use, the colors that I'm able to play around with, and there's a lot of growth, and I look forward to learning more, because the fashion industry always evolves. The old comes back, there's new. So I can't say I'll never stop growing, and I'm excited about the journey.
Do you think, like Rwandan fashion, you see how tourism is doing magic for Rwanda? Do you think fashion will someday become a pillar, to take the Rwandan name across the globe, and make the country, make people move places, same as the same way tourism is doing, and sports in a way. How do you think fashion is faring in Rwanda?
I think it has already started, because one thing that I'll talk to you about is Collective RW that I'm part of. It's an organization that myself and
You're the founding member, right?
I'm one of the founding members. Myself, Matthew from House of Tayo, Linda from Hot Basso, and Teta from Inzuki Designs. So we put ourselves together, actually not, I think about maybe 8 years, 8, 7. We're like, okay, we see there's a lot of potential with the fashion industry. How can we put ourselves together and really grow the fashion industry, grow the creative sector, and push for it? Because there's a lot of potential in creating jobs, in inspiring the youth. Just to name a few, for example. And we started creating fashion shows, and that's something that we actually did numbers. We have numbers where we see that this is an event people are actually willing to fly from maybe around the region, you know, to come for the show. So things like that. And I'm excited to see that Collective Rwanda has grown, you know. Now we've doubled in numbers in terms of the brands, but then also the support. It's very interesting to go to conferences and see people wearing different brands, made in Rwanda brands. The support is amazing, because during that time when we started, people did not really believe in made in Rwanda, but like now, organizations, different government institutions maybe have made in Rwanda Fridays. That's amazing. And that shows how fashion can really also be a pillar of change, a pillar of like economic growth, you know? So it's exciting. I think it has already started.
Yes.
And yeah, go ahead.
Speaking about collective, it's Collective Rwanda, right? What, at the moment, who are the, I can say partners, but like, is it designs coming together, or is it designers coming together? I mean, not designs, but brands. Is it brands coming together, or the designers behind the brands coming together?
The brands, because I guess I believe that those are two things that are simultaneous. A brand and designer is one thing. So yeah, we are a group of designers who put ourselves together we always believe, you know, working together is better than not working together. So we have things that are in the works that we'll be able to announce when time comes. But some of our partners are Visit Rwanda. Last year during Chogam, we were able to have a fashion show where we actually showcased and also had different designers from the Commonwealth. We had some from Jamaica, some from Kenya, like the Commonwealth. And King Charles was in attendance, as well as, then he was a prince, as well as Queen Camilla. Those were some of a few attendees. So it's exciting to have such people. That's great visibility, because actually one thing that I didn't talk about, one of the challenge in the fashion industry, because we are a small country, African fashion is really growing, but then also you can get lost into the mix. So visibility, market visibility can be a challenge, especially with so many brands that are out there today. So how are our brands recognized? And it's amazing, during Chogam actually, Melinda Gates ordered, like her team ordered a team from, they ordered a dress.
I really want us to talk about that.
Oh, sorry. No, but it's just an example. Okay, she wore an SM dress. I had no idea that she actually even owned an SM dress. So that almost validates what we're doing, and having such people wear our clothes is truly inspiring and pushes us to even work harder.
It really is. But tell me, how deep do you go? Because there may be a designer who is maybe in Musanze or maybe in Kigali, but they still do not have. They feel like Collective Rwanda is made for you know, these already grown brands. You know, I always like to find if there is did the people get what they have on a silver spoon, or is something they earned? And luckily enough, we have your story, elaborating, telling us, showing us how you've moved from point A to this point. But this young designer, how will they join Collective Rwanda if they really want, if they really feel like, if they really look up to you and they feel like, oh man, I want to be like Sonia, I want to be like Matthew, how deep do you, because at some point they can't reach you, but at least if you...
No, they can. They can even go, they can reach and even go even beyond us.
I'm talking about them contacting you, maybe trying to, receive help, support in terms of advice, in terms of guidance. How do you think Collective Rwanda is going to...
One thing about Collective Rwanda, I think you even asked about our partners. One of our partners is Ubuhanzi. Ubuhanzi actually goes in all parts of the country, trying to find different talents in music, in fashion, in acting. So some of the Ubuhanzi some of the designers that came from Ubuhanzi, some of them have actually joined Collective. And one thing also, I think you're almost taking me to you're making me tell you what's gonna happen in the future for SM and what I envision. One thing that I want to start doing, I want to start having partnerships and into partnerships, collaborations, like in terms of working with such, because there's so many amazing. Every time I see Rwandan actually is really evolving in haute couture. Like, I think one of the person, like Cedric Mizero, he's a genius. He's actually an art genius. So I've been seeing a lot of people doing installations, and it's amazing because there's so many things that we can do. And so back to what I want to do, I want to start partnering with like minds, with like brands, that we can work together. If you have a product that you want to push forward, how can we work together? And I don't mind, we can collaborate and I can sell it in my shop. And that way you can gain visibility. It hasn't been, I haven't thought through the whole process, but it's something that I want to do. Yeah, doing such partnerships.
I want someone, if they're gonna listen to your story, they really have to feel they can reach where you are and, go.
But I feel like a lot of times people shouldn't really focus on other people's stories. It's good for inspiration, but then you should also focus about your journey. And that's something people really need to also do, because comparison can also create a lot of anxiety, a lot of doubt in yourself. And really focus, because I really believe that if you're good at something and you work hard, and social media has really made it easy for you to be able to, like, Instagram is my biggest marketing tool, and I don't necessarily have to pay crazy amounts to advertise or to sponsor. Like, I can post something on my story, I'm like, this is available in store, and people come. So how can you create an audience? And because you don't have to limit yourself to how much you post or whatever. So I really believe in people trying to sell yourself, go door to door, but really, because I feel like if you have a goal for yourself and you know where you want to go, you can reach for sure.
That's amazing. You were talking about Melinda Gates, and I wanted, can you tell us some of the proudest moments of the brand, the evolution, and there are moments that have to stay in your mind, obviously. What are those moments, maybe like you just mentioned Melinda Gates, but what are the other?
So I will go back to the Melinda Gates story just so that because I started my online shop, and when I started it, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna receive so many orders, but I realized people don't really trust, especially I think African fashion designs, like people don't necessarily shop online as much as they do all these other Western brands. So I was very discouraged because I really invested in it. But one day we got an order from Seattle, and this person ordered 3 dresses, wanted in different sizes. I was like, okay, this is interesting. And it really encouraged me because this is the dress that Melinda Gates ended up wearing. And in this instance, kind of validated what we did. I was like, okay, I guess I'm not getting enough sales, but it's actually reaching, it's actually getting to places. And we shipped it out. It got to her. She comes to Rwanda. She's wearing it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the dress they ordered. And so that's one of my proudest moments, because I really want to create an amazing online shopping experience. And that's something that I'm also evolving on.
Can I say something?
Sure.
There is this part of the story I liked. You were talking to a certain podcast. It's Nisi. I don't know if that's how they pronounce her name.
Anisi, yes.
Anisi. I like the part how you just received an order and then you shipped it and you never knew who that person was, and then to your surprise, boom, Melinda gets. But tell me, when you're beginning your business, brand, had you ever thought at some point in your life, a person like Melinda Gates would be wearing the SM dress?
Like I said, I started when I was literally wanting to make clothes for myself. So even how this brand became a brand, actually, when I started, I was part of a fashion show and someone interviewed me and they ended up being from The Guardian. And so in The Guardian, the fashion designer, Sonia Mugabo from Rwanda. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a fashion designer, So all those, that's also a proud moment because it pushed me to actually delve into this business and start. And I think such opportunities are when you have to literally grab onto them and move forward. Because after that, that's when I was able to find a tailor, and I was like, I'm gonna take orders, and here we are today. 10 years, a decade. It's a proud moment for me.
It really is. What are the problems? Now we have at least Melinda Gates, and the story is very nice. I believe. What are some of the other high-profile names you've dressed?
So for me, actually, it's not even about who I dress. It's about how I can see. My tailor the other day, one tailor told me, Sonia, you have literally gotten 3 of my kids to college. And I didn't think about it that way because I was like, you come to work, I pay you a salary, you can do whatever you want with your salary. But to hear the fact that, I've been able to be a part of her kids' journey to be able to go to college, that's such a proud moment for me. It's not even about who wears my clothes. It's about what difference we're making and in the community, and just empowering women. For me, that's something really big. Also empowering men, by the way. I believe that's also really, really important. So such things, creating an environment where someone can feel their growth, but they can also feel like they're the breadwinners. A lot of my tailors, the women tailors, are breadwinners in their family. And that's something to take pride in. And I think that's actually my proudest moment. Yes.
All right, you've dodged my question. I'll move on, but you've dodged my question. You've dodged it.
I haven't dodged it. It's not about who. For me, all my clients, like seeing people going to a conference, or I'm traveling and I see someone wearing SM and I'm like, wow, it's
Give me 3 other names after.
It's really not about who wears my clothes.
I really understand that, but I still want names.
Yeah, let's move on.
All right. I want us to talk about, at least before after fashion, you're also a mental health advocate. What about it? Are you still doing it? And what actions have you done so far? And how is it going?
Okay. Part of my mental health advocacy, I think I can do more. So sometimes when they say you're a mental health advocate, I'm like, I am, because I've shared my story, I've shared my truth. So, but I can do more. I just feel like we are at an age where it's really, for me, it's about breaking the stigma that comes around that, mental health. Like, think about if you're sick, physical health is so important, but we don't realize that mental health is equally as important, because if you're not right up there, then your life gets affected. And so for me, I do live with bipolar. I do take medication on a regular, and I'm just trying to show people that you can have a disorder and still be okay, still be able to work day to day, still able to have relationships, still be able to be a mom. I'm a mom now, and that's an amazing journey that I've that has really changed my life. And before I became a mom, I was scared. I was like, I have issues. How am I gonna, be the best mom for Xander with whatever? What if I'm moody, one day and I cannot be as great for him? But I realized that no, you can. You can be a great mom.
I really feel like now that you've gone through that at least, you can give advice to a certain soon-to-be mother or baby mother. These girls who are venturing or entering into their womanhood, motherhood periods. What advice can you give them? From experience.
One thing that there's so much pressure for moms, and I feel like we're all doing our best, and it's really important to not be too hard on yourself, and to just celebrate. Also, one thing I would say, they grow up so fast. My son turned 1 the other day, and when I look at photos of something, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's gone by so fast. So to really enjoy and be present in those moments, because a lot of times you're really fixated on what you're not doing right. So, and also to have to take time for yourself. I really believe in that, because a lot of times you're like, okay, you're giving, but what about yourself? So if there are things that you enjoy doing, activities, I enjoy traveling, so it's really great to have great support system. I'm able to, maybe have my mom, maybe stay with Xander if I want to take some few days off. And really, I really do appreciate such moments. And yeah, and it really takes a village. So don't try to do everything yourself. Accept help.
We've talked about, you've given some advices to people who are standing out in fashion. But what do you think is the key, can be key to success in fashion here in Rwanda? Like maybe for a person who's still struggling, to come
like
up
advice
with,
to give them?
Yeah, advice.
Okay. I wouldn't even say just fashion. I think it's in anything you do. Okay, maybe I'll talk about fashion because that's the field that I'm in. Not to give up, and not to think that everything is gonna go as planned. So you have to be able to, there's gonna be bumpy roads, ahead. And so it's important to embrace it all. There's the good, there's the bad, there's the ugly. But I think having a vision, I don't want to sound cliche or something, but really having a vision. Like each year, I always have a vision. Like I'm like, what are we trying to achieve? And that's something that also I try to share with my team, so that they are part of that vision.
Yes.
A lot of times, even when we're having meetings, I'm always telling them, this is not about me. If the brand grows, you grow as well. If I'm able to increase my revenue, increase my sales, I really believe in rewarding hard work. So I tell them, if you want to increase salaries every year, let's work harder. Let's get to, if we're aiming for 20 million, let's aim for 30 million, So, because a lot of times when you're working towards a goal, it motivates you even because not every day is gonna be like, oh, I can do this. I have energy, I'm energetic, I'm inspired. And that's something I've also, in the 10 years, I've gone through a lot of highs and lows, And so not to give up, have a vision, try to block out the noise. There's gonna be naysayers, but work on your vision, the rest will follow.
That's amazing.
Yes.
We're about to conclude our conversation, but before we do, what future plans does SM have? And there is SM as a brand. This time we struggle because their name is Sonia Mugabo,
yes.
And their brand is Sonia Mugabo. But
yeah.
You as a person, what future plans do you have? And as well as the brand, what are the future plans you have?
So I plan for the brand. I'm trying to venture into other products. I'm actually working, like I said, I'm partnering with other
Can you expect
yes.
men's clothes?
I get that all the time. The pressure. I will drop a men's line like boom, and you guys will stop talking. But I'm working on it. I am.
Okay.
I am. But not just men's wear. I'm very passionate about skincare. I'm hoping to get into the skincare market. I'm also looking just with the mental health. I'm trying to see how can I use mental health, like I said, raise awareness, stigma. So in terms of products, like how can that work? So I'm changing my brand not just into a women's line, but into a lifestyle. And I'm looking to partner to have conversations, maybe do a podcast. But yeah, keep on growing and making a difference, not just in the fashion industry, but also inspiring, hopefully, a future generation of fashion designers and entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs. Yeah.
That is fantastic.